Yo, Gramps, what is this? Found it on the couch. Is this something from like back in the day? Let me take a look at that. Oh, you good?
So it's 2021, and gaming is in a truly exciting period. We just entered the next generation of consoles with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, and technology seems to be advancing faster than ever. Games are running on Ultra 4K HD and beyond. Features that were only thoughts some time ago, like detailed voice recognition and facial recognition, are developing more and more. Virtual reality and augmented reality are improving every year. On-demand gaming in the form of consoles purely for streaming are beginning to enter mainstream. Advanced sensory like the DualSense and HD Rumble, and so much more that is beyond my comprehension. But let's take a detour from all of that to something much more simplistic. I want to reflect on a weird phase in the gaming world where, in the midst of all this progress in technology, the hot thing that was all the rage were small plastic toys? Let's talk about it. So before we dive into the different figures that contributed to the wave in popularity of this very specific form in gaming, we must do a little bit of history. What exactly are these small pieces of plastic? Well, to get technical for a bit, the actual name for these things are toys to life, with the definition, according to the great Wikipedia, being a video game feature using physical figurines or action figures to interact within the game. Now, as to how they are able to connect to compatible games are through NFC and RFID technology. NFC, or near field communication, allows communication between two electronic devices over a distance of 4 centimeters or less, and RFID, radio frequency identification, has the ability to recognize tags connected to objects using electromagnetic fields. This technology has been incorporated in all of the most prominent series of Toys to Life figures. These techniques aren't new, and neither are toys cooperating with video games to create an enhanced form of gaming. In fact, that can be traced all the way back to the 80s with Nintendo's Robot Operating Buddy, better known to myself and Smash fans alike as Rob. However, while I will credit Rob as the originator in that sense, it wasn't by definition under Toys to Life in its use. So when exactly did these figures begin showing up on the gaming scene? Well, going into this research, I was only familiar with the figures in the height of their popularity, so truthfully, I believed it was a brand new thing fresh to the market in the peak of my interest in the mid-2010s. But in reality, the earliest video game I could find that truly incorporated toys to life dates back to 2007 with UB Funkies. Developed by Mattel and Arcadium, UB Funkies was a PC title that used a USB hub that allowed little bear-like... Is that like a bear? I'm really not sure what it is. It kind of looks like Meep from Phineas and Ferb. That allowed small, similarly shaped characters to connect with the software and unlock new areas for the player in-game. There aren't an abundance of remnants of the game for me to go off of, aside from the lost files that are on YouTube, and I was too young to even know it was ever in existence. Fortunately, one of the creators whose content I frequent, Billiam, has a great in-depth video on UB Funkies on his channel, so if you want to know about it from someone with a brain, I would definitely recommend it. The game only lasted for 3 years, from 2007 to 2010, and production ceased. However, a year prior, FAMPS? F-A-M-P-S? I don't know how to... FAMPS was introduced, credited as the second game ever made in the Toys to Life genre, behind UB Funkies. FAMPS was also developed by Mattel, and with that being the case, from the commercials I can find, the figures were very similar in design to the ones of UB Funkies. But, unlike the 2007 title, Vamps was less like a regular game and more like an app that offered a secure social network to communicate with. Because of this, and the fact that it was only available to download online, there is even less remains left of Vamps. Despite these earliest toys-to-life games becoming seemingly lost in time, the fresh take on gaming and the potential to break open a new market was on the table. All the format needed was a big publisher and a familiar face to give it the push to the front stage of video game media for consumers. And at the turn of the decade, that exact push would come from a place and from a character no one would have expected. In the 2000s and further in the 2010s, classic video game series from the 80s and 90s went through a slew of attempted reboots. Some of them were fantastic successes that returned to beloved franchises, like 2011's Mortal Kombat, 2016's Doom, 2013's Tomb Raider, and even the first new Super Mario Bros. Installment could be considered. However, on the other end, there were some miserable flops that disrespected the original material, like Duke Nukem Forever, Bomberman Act Zero, and even the infamous Sonic 06 and Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. One of the properties that became stuck in a void between the two was Spyro. The Purple Dragon was the star of Insomniac's 1998 hit Spyro the Dragon, a 3D platformer via the original PlayStation. The success of the game established Spyro as a prominent figure in Sony's early arsenal alongside the likes of Crash Bandicoot and Lara Croft. But after the completion of the series' original trilogy of games, come the turn of the century, Spyro struggled to stay in gaming spotlight with just okay handheld titles and glitchy, unimpressive multi-platform releases. And by the mid-2000s, the continuity of the franchise had fizzled out. In 2006, the series took a second stab at it, and it resulted in the Legend of Spyro series and subsequent trilogy of titles. To no surprise, the games were also given mixed reviews and mediocre reception, and only 2 years after it started, Spyro's second stint had already been deemed unsuccessful. So, covering all of this, what does it have to do with Toys to Life exactly? Well, shortly after, Vivendi, the French media company, and specifically its game department, who had published a majority of the Spyro series since 2002, offered American developer subsidiary Toys for Bob a reboot using whichever Vivendi franchise of their choice. And in a decision that would turn everything around, the California-based company picked the Purple Dragon and his universe to be revived once more. The game was originally to be called Spyro's Kingdom, and through its development, it was determined that creating a new game similar to the series' traditional fashion just wouldn't work anymore. This is where Toys for Bob implemented the Toys to Life technology into the game. Reportedly during this time, the studio offered a partnership opportunity to Nintendo on this forthcoming venture. In classic Nintendo hindsight when it comes to collaborations, they respectfully declined the offer. Eventually, the game steered away from focusing on just Spyro, with the justification being that the target audience would be younger kids with no prior knowledge of who the character was. And with that, 2011 Skylanders Spyro's Adventure came into fruition. Using RFID, the figures of Spyro and company that paired with the game became playable through a USB hub called the Portal of Power, notably the first Toys to Life hub to have 2 spots which allowed local multiplayer. The game was a hit, proving to be the third most profitable game in the first quarter of 2012, grossing $500 million in its first 16 months and earning the title of the best-selling kids game of 2011. The consumer reception was favorable as well, with critics praising the innovation of the Toys to Life aspect and the title's production value. Since 2011, the Skylanders series has sold 30 million figures, and subsequently opened the door for more mainstream companies to invest in the Toys to Life genre. And it didn't take long for the big names to take advantage of the market's newest gimmick. Fast forward to 2013, and Skylanders has put the entire gaming market on notice with the success of their Toys to Life platformer. And come that summer, the world's most powerful mouse would arrive to challenge Spyro's innovative reboot. In August, Disney would release Disney Infinity, a Toys to Life action-adventure title that featured an open-world creation mode called the Toy Box and a story-driven gameplay mode called the Play Set, paired with physical toys of every single recognizable Disney character you could think of. the idea of a Toys to Life game paired with the brand responsible for Toy Story was a no-brainer, and the folks at Avalanche Software really nailed the realization of it to their best abilities. From The Incredibles to Monsters Inc. to Frozen to Cars to Pirates of the Caribbean, the game was full of content. This was my introduction to Toys to Life format, and I truly enjoyed it when I was younger. The title received above average response from critics, barring the 3DS version, and it was a fair success as well, for Disney standards at least. Enough a success to make more expanded versions the following few years, integrating more and more of their acquired properties like the Marvel Universe and the Star Wars franchise. It was in that year that Toys to Life grabbed the attention of the market with Infinity, if it hadn't already before with Skylanders. Companies would come out of the woodworks pushing low production Toys to Life gimmicks for their properties. However, in the midst of this, one massive company in particular would use a small spin-off game to dip their toe into the market. In the same month Disney Infinity 1.0 hit shelves, Pokemon Rumble U arrived in the States. In this action game, you play as Pokemon styled as wind-up figurines, who must fight their way through a number of battle arena styled levels, collecting more and more powerful mons to use in battle along the way. Now, knowing the very specific stylization of the game's characters, it seemed like Rumble U was almost made with a Toys to Life concept in mind. However, the Rumble series was not a new one by 2013, and had dated back to its first installment in 2009. But after the groundbreaking success of Skylanders, Nintendo saw the game as a perfect test subject to see the company's futures with the toy-based genre. So figures would be produced to pair with Rumble U, utilizing the built-in NFC technology within the Wii U gamepad. The game received average at best reviews, and the sales of the figures didn't move anything crazy in terms of large numbers. But one thing about stubborn Nintendo is that they will push an idea until they get it right, and come the following year, they would do just that. In a year's time following Rumble U, Nintendo would present a Toys to Life figure more comprehensive than the prototypes used for the Pokemon spin-off, with the purpose to be utilized on the libraries of both the Wii U and 3DS. Codenamed NFP, with the dual meaning of Nintendo Figurine Platform and NFC Featured Platform, the Big N prepared to have a product ready by E3 launch. And come E3 2014, that product would be unveiled as Amiibo, Nintendo's official physical toy line that would cooperate with the brand's upcoming titles. The first wave of Smash Bros. Amiibo would launch in November of that year alongside Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. From that day on, multiple series would receive their own lines of Amiibo, functional with a vast selection of titles: Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, Splatoon, Metroid, Fire Emblem, and even Dark Souls. Throughout these releases, Nintendo sparked great success and publicity through Amiibo. Collectors began to target Amiibo as subjects to scalp and hoard, and coupled with the underwhelming supply of stock from Nintendo, some figures were becoming extremely hard to find and extremely coveted. Certain figures were only available from specific retailers, which limited stock even further. Despite the multiple issues and controversy surrounding the supply and demand issues, Amiibo was a viral success. Fans lined stores and wreaked havoc on retail aisles for the figures. Many became infatuated with building massive collections, and Nintendo went on to sell 40 million Amiibo toys and 30 million Amiibo cards by the end of 2016. I have fond memories of this period in time due to the sheer amount of interest a lot of the communities I followed had in Amiibo. The scarcity of some of these special edition and store exclusive figures never persuaded me like many others, but I can say that I did collect a solid amount of toys before my interest in the gimmick waned away. That being said, from that point where the Amiibo's popularity peaked, so did the format of Toys to Life. It had become a well-known gimmick in the gaming community, and the perfect transition between playing with action figures as a little kid to playing video games as kids began to get older. More and more brands were investing in the Toys to Life genre. However, with the short attention span of the internet era, the extra cost that goes into keeping up with new figures to buy, and the fact that the genre was relatively new and was yet to prove any long-term staying power in the industry, it had become a race against time to cash in on the figure era before it became just another period in time, and a couple of names would make a valiant effort. In 2016, Avalanche Studios, the developers responsible for the Disney Infinity games, closed down. Disney confirmed that the Infinity series would retire along with the studio, after only 3 titles in 3 years in existence. A year prior, Disney tried a different venture called Disney Playmation to no similar success to Infinity. In a twist of irony, Amiibo and Skylanders would touch bases to collaborate in late 2015 and produce hybrid figures of both Donkey Kong and Bowser. One of the oldest toy giants in the world took a late swing at it in 2015's LEGO Dimensions. Merging the internationally recognizable fun factor of building with Legos with a toys-to-life action-adventure crossover game that connected many loosely disjointed franchises that frequently partnered with LEGO, as well as LEGO properties themselves, including Ninjago, LEGO City, Batman and DC, Ghostbusters, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, The Simpsons, Doctor Who, and even Sonic the Hedgehog, weirdly enough. It received very positive reviews, and even won Best Game at the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. But like many of the other hub games in the genre, it lost steam quickly, and was discontinued by 2017. Ubisoft and Jax Pacific would also throw their weight into the ring, but by then it was far past its prime, with no momentum in the market. By 2018, half of the 4 most prominent lines in the Toys to Life format had discontinued, and the gleam of a fresh and interesting gimmick had worn off in consumers' eyes. This more or less brings us to the present day, where myself, and perhaps some others, question the future of the innovative and young video game feature. There are currently only 4 Toys to Life lines that are still ongoing: Skylanders, Beyblade Burst, a 2016 effort from Hasbro utilizing QR codes in their iconic spinning tops, which exist alongside an animated series, Lightseeker's Awakening, a Kickstarter product developed by PlayFusion that doesn't entirely focus on the figures available to play the title, and of course, Amiibo. Skylanders, being one of the originators in the eyes of most critics, deservedly earned its stake to survive this long. Lightseekers was technically the newest competitor, and truthfully, even if the market completely died out, Nintendo could keep Amiibo afloat for the rest of time just off of their name alone. But with that being said, we've lost a couple great lines in a short time, and the days where the figures were a hot fad have faded for a long time now. So where does the platform go from here? Unfortunately, even after only existing for about a decade and a half to my knowledge, it seems that Toys to Life has run its course. In these modern times, technology is advancing quicker than ever, which gives fads less time to stick around. Mobile gaming and gaming in general have been wearing down on the toy market for years now. And although Toys to Life did a solid job at the time compromising that transition within the kid entertainment industry, it's no longer a transition in the 2020s. And even if consumers maintained interest, the expenses that were needed to buy new figures and keep up with lines was just a deal breaker for fans after a period of time. While Amiibo will definitely stick around for some time longer before Nintendo decides to move on, and with Skylanders' inspiring success in reviving the Spyro series and putting the genre on the main stage, I hope they have some time left as well. But beyond those 2 lines, Toys to Life may be destined to meet with a terrible fate. Another flashy trend to become lost in history. So here's to the figure era. It was fun while it lasted. I'll be sure to be holding on to some of the remnants that I still own. I won't forget about those little toys. And if you reached this part in the video, thank you for sticking around, and thank you for watching. Okay, this is kind of a wild, long video. Like, it wasn't planned for it to be like a real history lesson, but as I was talking about it, I just realized like I don't know a lot about Toys to Life. So, you know, I had a really fun time just like kind of learning a little bit more about it. I wanted to make like a longer video, longer presentation. It was something I wanted to talk about for a while. But that's not why I have this post-vid rant. I have this post-vid rant, this video, because we hit 100 subscribers in under 7 weeks, which is like mind-blowing. Like, it's just something that I started this year. I said I'd do it for a year and see how it goes. And you know, I've been having really fun making these first 10 or so videos, and to get this much love back already is just wild. So if you're one of those people who subbed and you're watching this, or you subbed from this video, like, thank you so much. We're gonna keep going. I try to get a video out a week because you know, busy with school and other stuff, so I don't have that much time to like make quality videos every other day. But you know, I try to. But if you did enjoy, you know, support the channel, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. The question for today's video is, like, did you own any Toys to Life toys? You know, I'm obviously, like, a lot of people owned amiibo, but did you own any other toys like Skylanders? Were you an OG? Did you have UB Funkies growing up? So let me know down in the comments. I definitely wanna see your thoughts on that. And yeah, more to come. See you guys next week. Peace.